Hello, everyone. We'll just give everyone a minute to join. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Visiting Vignette on ATTR-CM. I'm Mandy Sandcooler, your Director of Partnerships and Communications here at the Mended Hearts, Inc. And I'm so excited to be joined today by Dawn and Jackie Cheney, who are here to tell you more about their journey with ATTR-CM. Before I get into introductions, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. All attendees are in listen-only mode. This 25-minute visiting vignette is being recorded and will be available on our website and on our YouTube channel. And lastly, I just want to thank Pfizer. With their support, we are able to bring you this educational programming today. And with that, I'm going to stop share. And I'm going to introduce you to Dawn and Jackie. So welcome, Dawn and Jackie. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. And so before we start with the questions, I just want to give the audience a little bit of background into your lives and your journey. So Dawn is a former NBA player and coach, a husband, father, and grandfather living with hereditary transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis, or what more people have probably heard of as called ATTR-CM. In 2019, he was caught off guard when he was diagnosed with this rare, serious, and often underdiagnosed disease that's associated with heart failure. Jackie is Dawn's wife of over 50 years and his primary caregiver. She helps Dawn manage his ATTR-CM by attending and asking questions during his doctor's appointments and helping him stay positive. Dawn has made it his mission to share his story with others to help raise awareness of hereditary ATTR-CM and encourage early and appropriate diagnosis. And so with that, Dawn, I'm going to start it off by asking you if you could tell us a little bit more about what ATTR-CM is and how it impacts the body.
Well, ATTR-CM is a serious and often missed condition that affects the heart and is associated with heart failure. It is a condition in which certain proteins change shape or misfold. These proteins can build up in different parts of the body, and over time, when these misfolded proteins build up in the body, in the heart, it may lead to heart failure. ATTR-CM is a progressive condition and that worsens over time. There are two types of ATTR-CM, the wild type and hereditary. I have the hereditary type, which is passed down from relatives. The wild type is associated with age and frequently affects Caucasian men over the age of 60, but women and men of other races can also be diagnosed.
Thank you, Dawn. What type of symptoms were you experiencing prior to your diagnosis with ATTR-CM?
Well, I had been experiencing frequent heart-related symptoms for a few years, like fatigue, irregular heartbeat, and shortness of breath. I was prescribed medication, but it only made me feel worse. Looking back for about 10 years, I had also suffered from carpal tunnel syndrome, which is numbness, tingling, and pain in the fingers, knee pain, and swelling in my ankles and lower legs, but assumed that these were caused by my years of playing professional basketball.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Can you tell us then how you found out eventually that you had it?
Yeah, my mom and grandmother both passed away from heart disease, and I was worried that I may be facing the same issues as them. I underwent several tests and procedures to figure out what was going on, which is how I was diagnosed with heart failure. What my cardiologist and I didn't know yet was that I actually had this rare heart condition called ATTR-CM. It wasn't until 2019 that I was officially diagnosed.
Wow. Okay. And Jackie, now turning to you, how did you feel about this as you're watching Dawn go through this whole journey with the symptoms and the not knowing?
Right. It was really difficult because his symptoms really had me concerned, and I was quite anxious about it. I saw signs of him being tired and probably looking like he was not having as much energy as usual. And then it started with the heart symptoms and other problems like his knee pain and his carpal tunnel pains. A lot of it, I thought, was just a result of his earlier basketball, career and his prior injuries that he had from that. But it wasn't until we worked closely with Don's cardiologist that they were able to diagnose him, you know, truly give us a good diagnosis.
Yeah. And
Mm.
so once you both had that diagnosis, Dawn, starting with you, what did that feel like? What'd you go through?
Well, it was shocking, but it was also good, though, to know why I was having these symptoms. Like many people and even some doctors, I didn't know my symptoms were related to my heart condition, so I didn't think to share with my cardiologist or other doctors I had seen over the years. In my case, and for many others, this can lead to a delayed or incorrect diagnosis.
And when his doctor finally did diagnose him with ATTR-CM, it was a relief, for me to have it all put together. But of course, it was still a really, really big concern. And it was a lot to take in because we were so unfamiliar with the disease. And it took a lot of our own research to get information about it. And we had frank conversations with his doctors to help us understand what ATTR-CM actually was. I was with him, throughout this starting this journey, with this medical condition.
It was scary to realize how little I actually knew about the disease. And that's the big reason why I'm sharing my story so others who are having heart issues and other seemingly unrelated symptoms can learn from my experience and be proactive about talking to their doctor about ATTR-CM, because sometimes a lot of people are real hesitant about that. ATTR-CM is often missed. It can look like more common symptoms of heart failure, like extreme tiredness and shortness of breath, while other symptoms like carpal tunnel syndrome, eye disorders such as glaucoma, pain or numbness in the lower back or legs due to narrowing of the lower spine, may not be typically associated with a heart condition. This often leads to a delayed or even an incorrect diagnosis. In fact, some people visit up to 5 doctors before getting the correct diagnosis, and I'm one of those.
Yeah. Uh, I guess looking at ATTR-CM hereditary specifically, the type you're dealing with, can you tell us a little bit more about that type?
Absolutely. There are more than 120 known gene changes, also known as mutations, that cause the subtype of ATTR-CM I have, known as hereditary ATTCM. For hereditary ATTCM, symptoms can occur as early as 50 to 60 years old and can really affect both men and women. The most common gene mutation associated with hereditary ATTR-CM in the US, V122I, is found almost entirely in African Americans. Around 3 to 4% of African Americans have this mutation.
Well, given, that the gene can be passed down through relatives and family, have you spoken with your family about the importance of getting genetic testing?
Yeah, I told my own family about the condition and urged them to get genetic testing. Several followed my advice. As a result, one of my family members found out she also has the gene mutation. She's now working closely with her cardiologist to monitor any symptoms so they can be prepared to take action and manage their disease if she develops symptoms.
Okay. Do you, Dawn, have any advice for someone who might be hesitant to discuss the condition with their healthcare provider?
Well, it's so important for people with heart failure to talk to their primary care doctor or cardiologist about ATTR-CM. If they are experiencing any seemingly unrelated symptoms, for example, irregular heartbeat, fatigue, shortness of breath, carpal tunnel syndrome, or if they have a family history of heart issues and have been diagnosed with heart failure, if if I had really known and proactively discussed my symptoms with my doctor sooner, I may have been able to get the right diagnosis and start managing my condition earlier with the care of my doctor. Um, uh, if you don't feel comfortable, which I didn't at the time, having that conversation alone, try bringing a loved one with your appointment and support, just give you a support system to help speak to you up about your experience. Because a lot of times, especially with me, I get in doctor's office and I get amnesia. So it's great to have someone that can support you and speak up and let the doctor inform the doctor of the things that you're going through.
That's really important, and something we encourage all of our members to do is to bring someone with them to those doctor's appointments to take notes, maybe record it, have a list of questions going in. Yeah. So how's it going these days? How are you able to manage ATTR-CM, and maybe talk a little bit about what life looks like living with the condition?
Okay, well, after my diagnosis, my doctor and I decided on a plan to manage my disease. I've been able to stay active during my retirement years by spending time on my ranch and working on antique cars. My wife, Jackie, has been my primary support and advocate. I'm very grateful to her and her love and her support. Jackie is always by my side through all of this. And when I was a professional player and had injuries, she made sacrifice to make sure that I was taken care of. Now she's doing the same thing with my ATTR-CM.
Well, and Jackie, turning to you now, the spotlight's on you for all the good work you've been doing. What have you been doing to help Dawn manage ATTR-CM, and how has your relationship kind of evolved since the diagnosis?
Well, once he was diagnosed and we knew that it was ATTR-CM, I made sure that Don took immediate steps to manage his condition, and I have fully stepped into the role of main supporter and advocate. I'm usually present at every one of his appointments, and I'm very proactive in talking to his doctors. I have a good relationship, with them, so I feel comfortable doing that. And I pride myself on being Don's greatest cheerleader, and it's important to me to be there with him. As far as our relationship and how it's evolved, I think Don's diagnosis actually brought us closer together because we talk openly about our health now. Going through this together has definitely made us closer as a married couple, and we prompt each other to live a healthier lifestyle. Our family has also been a great support system. Our kids, our 12 grandkids who keep us on our toes. And Don is staying active. He's managing his disease. He's enjoying his retirement years. And he's always surrounded around by friends and family. Don shows his appreciation for the things that I do, and I enjoy doing those things because he's just the kindest and the most generous husband a woman could ever ask for. We live a beautiful life in spite of the illness and in spite of the trips to the doctors. We are enjoying life.
I love that message for our viewers today and for our members. It's so important. You're not your condition, you're living just with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, making it work. And so, Jackie, it's really important as a caregiver that you're getting the support you need. So how are you managing your well-being while also supporting Dawn?
Well, like I said, I can't say this enough. I'm with Don every step of the way. I enjoy, being in this role because he's always taken care of me throughout the years. We've been married for many, many years. And I also make it a priority to do some of the things that I enjoy and that make me have personal happiness. I love spending time with our kids and our grandkids. I love vacationing. We especially like to cruise. We visit our vacation homes and we stay pretty active.
Great. So you're taking that time that you need for your mental health as well. Good. And Jackie, for you, what kind of advice would you give to anyone whose loved ones are living with ATTR-CM?
My advice to someone who has a loved one who is experiencing ATTR-CM symptoms like the extreme tiredness, carpal tunnel syndrome, swelling in the knees and ankles, you need to be very aware of the symptoms. And then you make sure that you share all those symptoms by, taking notes when it happened, and make sure that you share those with your cardiologist or your primary doctor. And those symptoms, sometimes they seem unrelated, but it takes a doctor really knowing your past and present symptoms in order, to give you a correct diagnosis. If your loved one has ATTR-CM, and it's the hereditary type, the way Don has, the one that Don has, encourage the family members to get tested. And that's important because these relatives are more likely to develop the condition. And getting tested is a way to help family members find out so they can get their condition managed and, track their disease earlier. This is important because it really does get worse over time.
Thank you. And Dawn, what would you say? What's your advice for people who may be experiencing symptoms like what you've had, or have a family history of heart disease, like what your mom?
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you're experiencing any unresolved symptoms, or if you have a family history of heart issues and have heart failure, have a heart-to-heart with your doctor or cardiologist about ATTR-CM. It's important to find out if there's another cause of your heart failure like ATTR-CM. It's especially important to have open discussions about health within our families, even if they, can be a little bit uncomfortable at times. Although some people would rather not know if they are more likely to develop the disease like ATTR-CM, talk to your family so they can be tested and prepared to take action.
Yeah, that's great advice from both of you. Jackie, did you want to add anything to that, or you feel?
No, just that, it's important that you do communicate with your family. I would love to, see all of our family members get tested. That hasn't happened, but we keep encouraging. So just what I said, be frank with your doctors and share the symptoms. Even if you think they have nothing to do with each other, they're unrelated, make sure that you're thorough with sharing this information with your doctors.
Great. Well, that's all the questions I have for you both today. Again, we're so grateful for your time and coming on and sharing your personal experience. It will really resonate with our members and others who are out there wondering what's going on with their health. It'll encourage them to visit their doctor. So thank you both, and have a lovely evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.